I'm Smriti Rastogi with another edition of Science Monitor, your one-stop answer for all that is happening in the world of science and technology with the main focus on India. And before we begin with this bulletin, a quick look at the top stories. Annual Innovation Exhibition held in National Capital. Indian agro scientists developed world's first nano fertilizer through biosynthesis. 200-year drought doomed India's ancient Indus Valley civilization. Virus frozen in ice for 30,000 years could become virulent too. Scientists warn of more intense freak weather in coming days. And in our segment In Depth, we shall discuss about diseases related to kidney and their cure. And now the news in detail. The annual innovation exhibition was held in the national capital from 7th to 13th of March, which was inaugurated by President Pranab Mukherjee. The week-long exhibition featured numerous innovative technologies, providing an opportunity to innovators from all over the country to show their innovations to the society. Here is a report.
The annual innovation exhibition was organized at the sports ground of Rashtrapati Bhavan from the 7th to the 13th of March, which was inaugurated by President Pranab Mukherjee. The exhibition was organized by the National Innovation Foundation, India. A total of 41 innovative technologies, including 7 from students, were showcased at the exhibition. In addition, the community knowledge-based herbal products from human, veterinary and plant health. The President also interacted with innovators who came from different parts of the country. These innovations have been selected after a rigorous screening at different levels. All the entries were subjected to technical and pure art search to ascertain the novelty, distinction and/or cost effectiveness. The NIF has supported most of them for validation of their claims, value addition in them and product development besides dissemination. The patents for all the technologies were filed in the name of grassroots and student innovators. All the entries were evaluated to ascertain the novelty, distinction and/or cost effectiveness.
And what has come as a good news on the agriculture front, India's agro scientist Dr. J.C. Tarafdar has successfully developed nano fertilizer. Dr. Tarafdar has innovated nano fertilizers using biosynthesis for the first time in the world. This means no chemical has been used in this process. Dr. J.C. Tarafdar is a national fellow at the Central Arid Zone Research Institute in Jodhpur.
India is the second biggest consumer of fertilizers in the world, and it imports almost the entire supply of non-urea fertilizers. Import of urea during the current financial year up to January 2014 was 67.98 lakh metric tons, worth $1,922.27 million. Such massive use of chemical fertilizers is one of the major causes of water and soil pollution and has been observed to cause soil salinity in the long run, resulting in the loss of soil fertility. These chemical fertilizers also face the risk of being run off by irrigation water, leading to wastage of bulky amount of fertilizers. As a remedy to this, Dr. J.C. Tarafdar of the Central Arid Zone Research Institute, pioneering nano fertilizers in India, Dr. J.C. Tarafdar has developed a methodology to use microbial enzymes for the breakdown of the respective salts into nanoform and use these as fertilizers. This technology, based on biosynthesis to produce nanofertilizers, is the first of its kind in the world.
It is actually biosynthesizing. We are using biological protein to break down the nutrients, mineral salts into nanoform. Suppose, for example, if we want to produce magnesium, then we are taking magnesium oxide or magnesium sulfate salts, and we are isolating the organisms which can break down these salts, and we are that protein of that organisms that breaking down the salts into nanoform.
This nanofertilizer has been shown to be more beneficial as compared to chemical fertilizers, as they increase the nutrient use efficiency by 3 times. thus bringing down the requirement of chemical fertilizers by as much as 80 to 100 times. This reduction in the use of chemical fertilizers will save considerable foreign exchange in the import of fertilizers.
Here our aim is to enter nanoparticles through plant leaves, through the stomata or cuticle. So we need only the particles which is very, very small. I mean, it should be less than 100 definitely, better to have less than 20 nanometer size. So that's why that particle we can't use in agriculture. Agriculture you need biosynthesized particle because they are naturally encapsulated with mother protein. So these particles are at least 6 months stable.
This newly developed fertilizer is 2 to 4 times less expensive compared to chemical fertilizers and provides 17 to 54% improvement in crop yield than conventional fertilizers, thus giving higher returns to farmers. Since it is a complete biosource, this nano fertilizer is eco-friendly and improves soil aggregation, moisture retention and carbon buildup. There is no health hazard and it is suitable for all crop varieties including food grains, vegetables and horticulture. The institute signed a memorandum of understanding with Sikandra-based Pratishtha Industries Limited for the commercial exploitation of the process.
On to some other science news. A drought of 200 years might have led to the fall of Indus Valley civilization. This discovery has been made by an Indian origin paleoclimatologist Yama Dixit, who is from the University of Cambridge. Dr. Yama Dixit and her team tested sediment samples taken from an ancient closed basin lake on the edge of the Indus Valley and reached this conclusion. Here are the more details.
In a groundbreaking discovery, researchers have found that a 200-year-long monster drought that occurred nearly 4,200 years ago is responsible for the end of the Indus Valley civilization. This discovery was made by a team of researchers led by Dr. Yama Dixit, an Indian origin paleoclimatologist at the University of Cambridge. They came to this conclusion after examining sediment from Kotla Deher, an ancient lake near the northeastern edge of the Indus Valley area in Haryana. Kotla Deher is a closed basin filled only by rain and runoff and without outlets. This team of researchers used radiocarbon dating techniques to determine the ages of the sediment layers present in the lake and studied the composition of tiny lake snail shells trapped in these sediment layers. These shells are made of a form of calcium carbonate called aragonite, which in turn might have either one of the two types of oxygen, namely commonly found oxygen-16 or a rarer form oxygen-18. During drought, oxygen-16, which is lighter than oxygen-18, evaporates faster so that the remaining water in the lake and consequently the snail shells become enriched with oxygen-18. Researchers have found that sediments that belong to time period between 4,200 and 4,000 years ago have a relatively higher ratio of oxygen-18. This has made them conclude that the regular summer monsoons stopped for some 200 years during this time period that resulted in a monster drought that ultimately wiped out the Indus Valley civilization. The Indus Valley civilization, also known as the Harappan civilization, is a Bronze Age civilization that flourished along the Indus River and existed in presently northwest India and Pakistan, is one of the oldest civilizations of the world. The Indus Valley was characterized by large, well-planned cities with advanced municipal sanitation systems and a script that has never been deciphered. This discovery fills a large gap in the geographic record of ancient droughts. But what drove this climate change 4,200 years ago still remains a mystery.
And scientists have warned reactivation of a virus which is more than 30,000 years old. Scientists say that the global warming could have led to the activation of the viruses frozen in the permafrost that could lead to the spread of new diseases. Let us take a look at this report.
Recently, another drastic and unanticipated consequence of global warming has emerged, as evidenced by the revival of a 30,000-year-old giant virus. This virus, named as Pythovirus sibericum, has been discovered by a group of researchers in the frozen ground of Chukotka Autonomous Region in extreme northeastern Siberia. It is estimated that buried underground, this giant virus has survived being frozen for more than 30,000 years. The pythovirus is 1.5 micrometers long and half a micrometer wide, which makes it the largest virus ever discovered. Fortunately, this virus is harmless to humans and animals. This discovery, after that of the Pandora virus, suggests that amphora-shaped viruses are perhaps as diverse as icosahedral viruses too, which are amongst the most widespread today. This study also shows how incomplete our understanding of macroscopic biodiversity is when it comes to exploring new environments, and that viruses can survive even in the extremely cold, permanently frozen layer of soil found in the Arctic regions, almost over geological time periods. These findings have important implications in terms of public health risks. Researchers suggest that global warming and human activities like exploitation of mining and energy resources in the polar regions may melt the ice and result in the revival and re-emergence of deadly viruses.
On to some other science news which we are tracking. India will see more intense, unpredictable freak weather in the month of March. This warning has been given by the scientists at the Rajya Centre for Climate Change in Bengaluru's Indian Institute of Science. To know more about this unpredictable weather, let us take a quick look at this report.
Wondering about the untimely rains and hailstorms that have ravaged the country in the past few days? There is more to come, say experts. After huge chunks of hail killed at least 10 people and wounded scores in Andhra Pradesh last week, and hailstorm that destroyed lakhs of acres of land in Warangal and Bidar in Karnataka, and Nasik and Aurangabad in Maharashtra. Scientists have warned that India's states will see more intense and unpredictable weather in the coming days. Scientists have predicted that the frequency of extreme weather is likely to increase with less rainy days, but more quantum of rainfall because of more intensity and severe drought hitting other places.
What is right now happening, it could be part of the climate variability. So, for instance, usually we do get in the winter time rainfall in Himalayan, snowfall in Himalayan areas because of what is called westerly disturbances. It just may be that this year, we have vigorous westerly disturbance activities, or, it's a little bit prolonged. So, it's very hard at this time to directly attribute climate change to this particular phenomena.
Scientists say last June's cloudburst in Uttarakhand, a severe cold wave in North India this year, heavy snowfall in Chevalla, Andhra Pradesh last January, and Bengaluru city recording 32 degrees Celsius in January this year are all extreme local weather phenomena which need to be studied and analyzed carefully. Researchers have proposed that the state should immediately carry out a micro-level study to assess the unpredictable weather, and the government should take steps to bring down the alarmingly increasing levels of the country's fossil fuel. The need of robust climate action plans based on accurate and quality data has been stressed upon.
And with that, time for a very short break. We will be back with science news. Stay tuned. Welcome back, you're watching Science Monitor, and now in our next segment, Science Express, we shall take you through all the latest development in the field of science that has happened in this week. WWW or World Wide Web has completed 25 years of its beginning. It was on 12th of March 1989 that British computer scientist who was working at CERN, Tim Berners-Lee, gave its proposal. A new and unique species of birds has been discovered in Asia. This discovery has been published in Royal Society's journal named Biology Letters. This bird species is found in the eastern region of Himalayas and southeast China. Two Indian origin students made it to the top 10 of the prestigious Intel Science Talent Search Awards. Anand Srinivasan of Georgia bagged the 8th position, while Sean Datta from Maryland took the last 10th spot in the awards. Both students bagged a prize of $20,000 each. Every year, World Kidney Day is observed in the second week of March to bring awareness among the masses about this disease related to kidney. On this day, various educational programs are organized to educate people about kidney-related diseases. In our segment In Focus today, we shall discuss about these kidney diseases and their cure.
Kidneys. Those bean-shaped organs located in the rear of the abdominal cavities of all vertebrates. Kidneys perform several essential regulatory functions and play a crucial role in the overall health and well-being of organisms. Functioning as natural filters, they remove toxic wastes of the body in the form of urine, maintain the level of electrolytes in the body, and regulate the acid-base balance and blood pressure. With changing lifestyles and food habits in recent years, there has been a marked increase in the number of patients reporting a variety of disorders related to kidneys, ranging from kidney stones, infections and cancer to complete renal failure. In order to raise awareness of the importance of our kidneys and kidney-associated disorders, the second Thursday in March every year is celebrated as World Kidney Day. World Kidney Day is a joint initiative of the International Society of Nephrology, the ISN, and the International Federation of Kidney Foundations, the IFKF. The first World Kidney Day was observed in 2006, and this year the day will be observed on 13th March. 88 countries across the world observed this day to raise awareness on kidney health among their people. A recent study conducted in 12 cities across the country suggests that 17 out of 100 Indians suffer from kidney disorders, and this number is likely to increase if we do not seriously start focusing on prevention.
We have evaluated कि हमारे यहाँ stones के कितने patients हैं country के अंदर. There are more than 5 million patients of stones in the country. हमने स्टडी करी है. राजस्थान is one stone belt. हरियाणा और पंजाब, that is another kind of stone belt. मतलब ये कि स्टोन बनता है वहाँ पे कुछ अलग कारणों से, राजस्थान में अलग कारणों से. देन महाराष्ट्र और सौराष्ट्र में किसी दूसरे कारण से बनता है, स्टोन बेल्ट है. ईस्ट इंडिया में किसी दूसरे कारण से बनता है, हिली एरिया में किसी दूसरे कारण से बनता है. तो इस तरह से हमने सर्वे करके ये पता लगाया कि इन कारणों से हम कैसे जूझ सकते हैं एज ए डॉक्टर. किन आधारों पे हम पब्लिक को अवेयर करें कि भैया तुम अपने स्टोन को बचाओ, तो हम कैसे बच सकते हैं.
Kidney disorders are classified broadly into two categories. The first being the loss of kidney function, called acute kidney injury or acute renal failure, ARF in short, and the other being chronic kidney disease or CKD, referring to kidney damage and decreased function that lasts longer than 3 months. Chronic kidney disease is particularly dangerous because one may not experience any symptoms until considerable, often irreparable kidney damage has occurred. ARF is known to be caused by factors like traumatic injury with blood loss and sudden reduction of blood flow to the kidneys, severe infections, and certain conditions like enlarged prostate and pregnancy complications. Certain drugs and toxins and lifestyle and habits that include inadequate intake of fluids may also result in renal failure. The primary cause of chronic kidney disease is diabetes, high blood pressure, past family history, and advancing age. Autoimmune diseases, urinary tract infections, and certain over-the-counter drugs are also known to cause CKD. The primary symptom of kidney disorders often is retention of water in the body, which causes swelling of legs and puffiness around the eyes and changes in the amount and frequency of urination. Patients may also experience extreme fatigue and generalized weakness, dizziness, and inability to concentrate, difficulty in sleeping, feeling cold all the time, pain in the back or sides, blood in the urine, nausea and vomiting, shortness of breath, skin rashes and itching, etc. Simple changes in our lifestyle and daily routine can go a long way in maintaining the health of the kidneys. Regular exercise and controlling weight are the primary steps towards this. Doctors recommend reduction of high-calorie diet, excess consumption of soft drinks and sugar, and also intake of adequate amount of pure water every day. Smoking and drinking alcohol are also known to cause kidney disorders.
हम पेशेंट के अंदर जागरूकता करें, पानी इज द क्रक्स ऑफ द, नॉन वेजिटेरियन डाइट कम ले, जंक फूड कम ले, और हर बार साल में एक बार जरूर अपने आप को टेस्ट कराएं.
Doctors also say that the overuse of over-the-counter painkillers such as ibuprofen and naproxen and certain other drugs used without prescription must be avoided to maintain the health of the kidneys. Last but not the least, people with a family history of kidney disorders are more prone to CKD and should get an annual health checkup done to prevent the risk of kidney disorders.
And what has been this week's contribution to the history of science? Let's find it out in our segment History of Science.
March 1966, the first manned docking of two spacecraft happened. The first docking of two spacecraft was achieved when Gemini 8, under the command of Neil Armstrong, rendezvoused and docked with an unmanned Agena target vehicle. Docking refers to the procedure which brings two spacecraft into physical contact and creates a link between them. 22nd March 1997, Comet Hale-Bopp made its closest approach to the Earth. Comet Hale-Bopp was the most widely observed comet of the 20th century and one of the brightest seen for many decades. It was first discovered independently on July 23, 1995 by two observers, Alan Hale and Thomas Bopp, both in the United States. It was visible to the naked eye for a record 18 months. 23rd March 1929, Professor Govind Swarup, the renowned radio astronomer and one of the pioneers of radio astronomy, was born in Thakurdwara, Uttar Pradesh. Professor Govind Swarup was the key scientist behind the concept, design and installation of the Ooty Radio Telescope and the giant meter-wave radio telescope near Pune. He retired as the Center Director of the National Center of Radio Astrophysics, the NCRA, of the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in 1994. He is the recipient of many honors, including the Padma Shri Award for his extraordinary contributions to the fields of astronomy and astrophysics. 23rd March 1950, the World Meteorological Organization (WMO), the specialized body of the UNO, was established. From then, 23rd March is celebrated every year as World Meteorological Day to commemorate the convention that created the World Meteorological Organization. The WMO is an intergovernmental organization with a membership of 191 states and territories and work in the areas of meteorology, operational hydrology and related geophysical sciences. The WMO is known for the creation of the famous Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, in collaboration with the United Nations Environment Programme, the UNEP.
And how do you like our program Science Monitor? Do send in your comments and suggestions through email. Our email address is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also send in your suggestions by post. Our address is Vigyan Prasar, C24, Kutub Institutional Area, New Delhi, 110016. And that's all we have for you in today's edition of Science Monitor. We shall meet you next week with more dosage of science-related news. Till then, goodbye and take care.